actually, today my responsibility is to give lecture 1 and lecture 2. But after finishing my talk, I have a third one. you need to lecture 3 too today. So, differently from my talking previous, I will give you the lecture 3 today. Lecture 3 is actually this is more familiar to me in my ordinary the work on the composite material mechanics. So this is the basic ones toward those kind of computation. And the title is Key Terminology and Concept in Composite Material Mechanics, I guess. So lamina and its characteristic, we are using single layer or fiber orientation or material properties. The single layer means just a single plate, Of course, that single layer is a lamina. Lamina is a single thin layer of composite material. So typically consisting of fiber and embedded inner matrix. So its thickness is very thin. As you see, the fiber diameter is just at most 100 micrometers, something like that. So after the infiltrating with a resin over it, its overall plate or ply thickness would be 100 at most 300 micrometer, so 0.3 mm, or if we use the thin one like 10 micron carbon fiber, something like that, in the case its practically will be thinner, so in the case 100 micron, something like that. So a single layer cannot be used for mechanical structure. It must be stacking together. And the fiber orientation means each layer may have different fiber orientation, but single layer has unidirectional, unidirectionally aligned the orientation is common. And the material properties means each lamina has its own material property. That means it's elastic modulus, shear modulus, Poisson ratio, like the monolithic material. That means inside there's two ingredients for matrix or fiber. For example, in the case of fiber has its own material property, and the matrix has its own property. So that means we should have some way to estimate overall, I mean the effective material property for ply. So that is very, the most simplest form is we say rule of mixture. So fiber orientation and angle. Zero orientation is a fiber aligned with the load direction. So load direction, usually we say is x direction. It's a load direction. If x direction, the load direction is aligned with the fiber orientation, that means we say that ply is 0 degree orientation. And that fiber oriented direction, of course, it can provide the maximum longitudinal strength and stiffness. And the 90 degree deviation, so the transverse direction of 0 degree orientation is 90 degree orientation. That's fiber perpendicular to the road. Yes, and enhance transverse properties of composites. And otherwise we may have 45 deviated orientation away from the road direction. The case of fibers at angles improve shear strength, and the torsional result of composite can be strengthened. So laminator theory and the laminator stacking sequence terminology is a stacking sequence means the order of ply orientations. Usually the ply orientation is recorded as an angle. It counted from the bottom. It's, if it is unsymmetric, it's an unsymmetric one. That means the ply usually we make it's a middle plane. In the thickness, there's a middle plane. The middle plane is it would be the interface most of the time. That interface, if it is a symmetric plane, in that case, the stacking sequence above that plane and below that plane, the sequence will be the symmetric, right? The 0, 45, 90, then 0, 45, 90, something like that. In that case, we count that from the middle, not from the bottom. So from the middle, 0, 45, 90, and we make the S subscript. So those kind of stacking sequence, the record can be symbolized. And symmetric means that it has a symmetric plane so, along the thickness, and the quasi-isotroping means a special layer is so equal stiffness in all directions. That means that a ply will be in the different various directions will be symmetrically stacking. Okay? And ply and lamina. Ply is a single layer of composite material. It's a building block of laminate. Lamina means a thin layer with a distinct fiber orientation. So multiple laminae from laminate. And the thickness is total. As I said, typical range is 0.1 to 0.3. That means usually 16 applies one of most the common cases as a complete plate, composite plate. That means the 0.1 times 16 means 1.6 mm. It's a very thin composite plate, you can imagine. At the 0.3 case, that means it's a 0.3 times 16. That means it is about 5 mm thickness. It is the moderate thick laminate, say. So constitutive equation. The constitutive equation is simply for undergraduate level material the material mechanics. In the case we say it's Hooke's law. Hooke's law is a relation described between load and deformation. So for one-dimensional stress equals Young's modulus times strain. It is simply the form of Hooke's law. So it's a general terminology. It's a constitutive equation. This constitutive equation of a lamina can be calculated systematically by using the rule of mixture. Here is the 1, 2 means 1, 2 is a principal direction. The principal direction. The 1 is usually a loading direction. Many times we say. So elastic modulus E1, E2 is a stress corresponding to sigma XX, strain epsilon XX, something like that. So this kind of the stress, strain, and the modulus, and the elastic shear, and the Poisson ratio can be calculated by using the force balance equation by using assumption of iso or force condition or iso strain condition. So from those you can calculate many of simple or basic equations for lamina. So if you have this kind of laminate properties, that means after that you can neglect the oriented direction of fibers. That means E1, E2, G1 to G21, something like that. That is your effective modulus of that composite plate. That means after that, it is you can see no more any fiber or matrix separately. You can just treat it as a continuous medium with anisotropic property. So that means you are ready to make a computational model based on that continuous medium assumption. That continuum has E1, E2, G1, Nu1, something like that. Okay? Overall, you can make this kind of model for FEM. So maybe the ex-student Dr. Vivek Dimoli will give you about computational method.
That's your next tutorial is based on this.
Yeah. He is well trained many years. So he will give you about computational technique. And so if you in your model, if you don't model any kinds of fiber or matrix separately, then we say that is a macromechanical analysis in the case. But if you should identify this is fiber, this is matrix, in the case we say it's a microscale, micromechanical analysis, something like that, right? And the macromechanical analysis is just anisotropic plate theory. Okay? The classical lamination theory is used to make equivalent laminate properties. Assumption is classical lamination theory makes assumption. Mechanical material behavior and the geometry of lamination. That means there is no distinction between fiber and matrix, something like that. And the application, CLT is applicable to wide range of lamination theories. So through this kind of calculation, you can estimate the overall behavior of composite material structure. And classical laminate theory like this, assumption is a lamina and the scene and perfectly bonded together. That means this is very, very ideal because as I said you in the previous lectures, the most weakness of composite material plate include defects. It cannot be avoided. And that defect cannot be neglected because vastly many defects can be found and the shape of that characteristic of those are very different. So you must know those kind of distinct weakness or caused by different damages. Not damages, it's originally manufacturing the fault. It is not fault, but because it cannot be avoided. Anyway, there are many incomplete bonding existing, but there's a perfectly bonding together. So this is a very huge assumption. And so accordingly, there is no slip between different plies. Is also very difficult. So it is without this kind of assumption, simple calculation cannot be impossible. So that means with that kind of very ideal assumption, your calculation means a very ideal behavior. So you cannot expect the final structure will behave like this in precisely, just the overall behavior like this. If you worry about some premature failure of data structure under working, in the case you must conduct micro-mechanical analysis again in addition to macro scale analysis. That's why to develop and to build composite material structure require tremendously computational works. So that means although you can make its behavior cannot be predicted before the advent of computer development, advancement. Right? So that means I believe in 1983, that year was the first time I could see personal computer. 1983. But as I said in the previous lecture, so 1960s is first decades to develop advanced composite materials. That means almost 20 years distance between first the drastic application of composite material and the real advent of modern personal computer. For example, I completed my master's degree in 1985. But at that time in my laboratory, there was at KAIST at that time. So one of my senior colleague, he studied some computational mechanics, and she calculated just a spherical void on the ground. And if above that surface, if there is some pressure distribution, like a huge truck or a vehicle, something like that, in the case, she wanted to know the stress distribution on the ground. To calculate that problem based on finite element method, he used the Korean government-based supercomputer at those days. And of course, because KAIST is supported by Korean government, so the computation fee is waived, but the bill is given. So when I saw how much he used that computer for 1 year, that time it was about 100,000 US dollars at those days. That means in Seoul, Gangnam areas, one unit of apartment was 50,000 US dollars. That means 2 apartments he used for calculation. But that kind of calculation you can conduct on your cell phone these days, very easily, very easily. So that means how fast development of computation tool can be expected. Right? So if you want to do better composite material engineer, you must seriously think you gotta know how to use computational mechanics. You don't need to program by yourself, but at least you need to know how to run that program, how to constitute your model based on that. So it is very needed. And the micromechanics of composite means, as I said, constitutive model include the fiber scale and the matrix scale should be considered, because only in this case you can consider interface between them. So that means in micro mechanics model, you can think the interface between fiber and the matrix. That means if that interface have some kind of defect or some kind of different coating over fiber, in the case it can be evaluated from the computation so that the more exact detailed behavior of composite material can be evaluated. Your test results after lab scale specimen fabrication, it can be compared with your computation results. The overall rule of mixture model is not sufficient to compare your specimen test results. So it's very much careful. And analysis part of micromechanical analysis help optimize the design of composite itself. So to develop composite, you need a micro scale computation mandatorily. But if you want to just build your structure based on existing composite material, then macro scale analysis can give you amount of knowledge. Okay? You don't need to micro scale case, okay? Except to special. This is a stress strain behavior of a lamina. Okay, lamina. So it's behave like the ordinary monolithic material. Okay? But if your specimen make from the different style of manufacturing process, then based on the same constituent composite system, you get to know how different of their test result. It's very different, very different. Because the composite material case, if you simply you think the brittle fiber and brittle matrix case, even in the case it looks like this kind of very the conventional behavior can be obtained. In the case, the toughness must come from. In the case, toughness must come from defects. It's very ironically true. So that means the fiber itself has no ductility. Matrix has no ductility. But brittle fiber reinforced brittle matrix composite has ductility. Where does it come from? Ductility means energy dissipation. That energy dissipation must be from the very micro scale mechanical friction. That means that the friction comes from matrix crack or interface crack between fiber and the matrix, or fiber break inside. So those kind of defects or damage can give you energy dissipation in that system. So that means all of ductility from composite material comes from damage, mechanical behavior, not the material itself. So it's a mechanical problem. Okay? So it is very interesting, but it's a more difficult case is obtained because if you are using the steel reinforced concrete case. In the case of steel has ductility itself. And the concrete is brittle, but concrete can be cracked. And the fiber and matrix between them, the interface can be cracked. That interface crack. But it's difficult to get a break of steel fiber in the case. But that steel can be plastically elongated. So that means plasticity can give you energy dissipation. So it's a very complicated case. But if you get a more delicate model of composite material system, so even resin or polymer, it has also its energy dissipation state, like a crazy. Right? So crazy is different from yielding. crazy can be included in the model. So even PMC, if you want to get the most accurate mechanical model, then you must think of various interdisciplinary concepts and knowledge. So, that in the case you can get writing SCI paper level. That is research level. And stress strain behavior. So elastic region must be found. But yield point means internal damage occurred. That's the first point of yielding in the sense of composite material. And the ultimate strength is over a final failure. Means it can be calculated and tested from the specimen. And the classical lamination theory is you can calculate A matrix, B matrix, D matrix. Okay? So here is a D matrix means the relation between curvature and moment. That is D matrix as a coefficient. And the B matrix is in plane and bending behavior couple. And the A matrix is conventional, the constitutive equation matrix. So those can be calculated from computational model. And laminated stiffness and the strength. Stiffness, strength, stacking sequence is the terminology of study. Stiffness is laminated stiffness determine the stiffness of each individual laminate and the orientation relative to applied load. Strength, laminated strength is determined by that. This kind of description means to predict stiffness, to predict strength, to use stacking sequence, what kind of parameters should be considered. Those kind of described here. And the laminate stiffness strength calculation. Calculation is involves CLT, classical lamination theory, equation, and material property to predict stiffness and strength. And the factors means stiffness and strength are influenced by fiber orientation, layer thickness, and the material property. So those kind of things are inherent material properties oriented, right? So those kind of things can be used for composite material plate calculation, but more important one is this one, laminate failure criterion. Because 2 years ago, I gave the one project for Samsung Electronics. That time they had the problem in their research center because previously the polymer was not used for overall casing. So they are large scale LED television, something like that. But these days, as you see, all over that kind of frame is made of polymer or engineered plastic, and on it the aluminum like plating, the metal plating on it. So it is not metal; it is polymer. So their development station, they calculate the large scale frame of TV. So it can bear the weight and the summer loading. They can calculate, but they got to know something strange, because after 14 days container storing from Korea to Middle East, then that polymer got degraded by summer loading. So it doesn't look like a new one. So so in the case they lost their the product quality. So they asked to improve the design to the research station. but they have no idea about the failure criteria. So when they came to me, so I asked, so far, what kind of criteria have you applied to? It's very difficult. So then, what will be very different issue about that? The constraint is very important for composite material plate. Then you cannot make a final shape of a plate all the time because it has a different edge. If some cases you need to machine, you make a hole on your composite plate, hole. So I mean the machining of composite material I'm talking about. So the interface is very important, but it's a perfectly you try to make a perfect bonding between them, but even in the same temperature, it is different from manufacturing temperature. That means temperature gap existing already, but it is well equilibrated inside internally. But if you make the free surface by machining, that means there will be step between different plies. So after you gotta know if you make a hole, then that hole will not be the circle. It's a retracted shape. But you cannot polishing by sandpaper around it. If you try to that, you will make a final failure of that plate. It cannot be used. That plate is very expensive, but you permanently damaged that. How you can make a final machining of it? How you can make the less internal stress distributed the plate? So there are many issues in the end. So just imagining calculation. Manufacturing, even after good manufacturing, you have another story. So, composite material case, you must study that system together with testing all the time. Testing. Okay? So, micromechanics of composite, Rule of mixture, Hall-Pinchai equation is one of most frequently used failure criteria. And the stress transfer. That means a fiber break somewhere, then that fiber cannot transfer the force through the fiber. Then that force should be bypassed through the matrix. Then matrix will get stress concentration. That concentration can make a matrix crack. In the case of that, overall failure will be start. So you must think those kind of. And a few important failures here is composite material. So maximum stress, maximum strain, Chai-O criterion, Hessian criterion, or many other things. This is a second order tensor equations. So you must know about that. That is a generalized form of the von Mises criterion for metal. So a few important experimental characterization, tensile testing, flexural testing, shear testing. So even though you wanted to test based on the composite material specimen, there's another problem. It's for metal, steel, aluminum, those kind of conventional materials. There is a well-established test method found from documents, STP or ASTM, those kind you can tell. But for material of composite, it is very less. Many times it is not well established. That means you need in-house equation by yourself, in-house test method by yourself. In the case, that test method must be justified by yourself to persuade others. Right? That means tremendous of knowledge is needed to develop composite material, manufacturing, structural analysis, many of those. That means I can say it is beginning stage of material development. So any terminology introduced in these lectures can be good point of huge business in case. So it's very good chance, good. I think it's a good, very nice opportunities as an engineer. But this must be known. Practical testing, practical build-up by yourself, and practical calculation and theoretical calculation or mixed calculation, semi-empirical calculation should be discussed with your colleagues. Then you can make a great composite material product. Then it can contribute to your life successfully, and country can be contributed by yourself. So this is about lecture 3. Okay. Have any questions? It's not. So although there is no equations, but this is one of my major expertise. So calculation is very interesting and very nice to know and needed to know, but you don't need to understand fully all of this, but you need your colleague who is familiar with this kind of